Hi, I'm Todd Malcolm, and I've been in the sport of triathlon for over 25 years. I'm head coach of a triathlon group you've probably never heard of. We don't train all the time, and we don't have goals to win races. In fact, our motivation is the exact opposite. We train for triathlons in addition to living busy lives with the goal of staying in shape and challenging ourselves in this amazing sport of triathlon. We are triathletes with no limits, and this is your map to triathlon. Well, hello. We are at Harvard University here in Boston, Mass, and we are running the Boston Marathon tomorrow. And right now, I'm with two special guests. I have Alan.
Alan Gaithuma. Hello everybody.
And Ian.
Hello, how are you?
So this is my first time in Harvard. I feel very scholarly and I think I'm smarter just sitting on these benches or these steps. What do you think?
Yeah. Oh yes. Oh, absolutely. There's this osmosis taking place.
Okay, so we get
Spell osmosis.
Alan, you're right next to me here, so tell me, are you running the Boston Marathon tomorrow?
I will be spectating because my friend Todd is going to be running the Boston Marathon tomorrow, so I want to support him and cheer him. And so I'm going to try and find a spot, finish line. It's going to be crazy because the whole world will be there. So, but I'll figure it out, and cheer Todd as he comes through.
Now, Alan, you're from a country that has good runners, right?
Yes.
Where are you from?
I'm from Kenya. I was born and raised in Kenya, and Kenyans are known around the world as long-distance runners.
Yeah.
And I do run myself, actually, but shorter distances.
How far do you go?
5 kilometers, 10 at the most on a day when I have time. Yeah.
Okay. And over here, I've lost myself there. Hang on a sec. There we go. And over here to my right, farther right, we have Ian. Ian, are you running Boston?
Yes.
Is this your first Boston?
No.
When
I could make this difficult. I raced this once before in 2010.
And what do you think about doing this race again today? Or tomorrow?
I'm not a woman, so I can't say for sure, but I think it's like childbirth, where you have to forget the first one before you do it again.
I think that's very good advice. Now,
You've lost yourself.
I've lost myself again. Let's see if I can tighten this up. Okay. So let's go back to Alan. Alan, you've lived in Boston for quite a few years.
Yes.
Right? You got some history here. So I've never done this. What are some tips you can give me for tomorrow's run?
I would say, first of all, start very early to get to Hopkinton very, very early because it's going to be a madhouse over there with positioning and all of that. Beyond that, just relax, be relaxed, chill out, enjoy the scenery, the weather. It's expected to be rainy tomorrow, wet.
People are talking about hypothermia.
Yes.
Really?
It's happened, but just be ready and be relaxed, comfortable, and you'll be all set. You'll be all set. There's tons of support all along the way.
And that's what I've seen is that there's a lot of support, and as long as you're like a Boy Scout, you're prepared, you bring all your stuff, you're going to be fine. So Ian, you are an experienced Boston marathoner.
Yes.
Give me one tip for tomorrow, because I'm a little bit nervous.
One tip for tomorrow? Ooh, that's a good one. I would say just basically just try and enjoy it, I guess. I don't think this is, I don't think this is necessarily the course to try and PB, which is unfortunate because that was your plan. But I think you'll find that tomorrow with the crowds and so forth, that it's more of an experience race rather than a race.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Alan.
Yes, sir.
It's okay. It's not live. We can edit everything out. I'm just trying to think of some questions that we can do.
He was like, no. And then, okay, Alan, back to you. And Ian does not appear again, but he's in the credits.
This morning, Ian and I did a 30-minute run.
Okay.
Yeah? No, 45. Maybe 50.
Okay.
Maybe it was 2 hours.
Yeah.
45-minute run. And we ran into a reenactment of Patriots Day. Now, what is Patriots Day? You know?
Patriots Day is a Massachusetts and Maine holiday. It's celebrated in 2 states, Massachusetts and Maine. And as I recall, I could be making a mistake here. As I recall, it has to do with the Revolutionary period of Massachusetts. I don't remember all the exact details, but the history goes back to the Revolutionary days.
I think it was the start of the Revolution.
Yeah.
And it's in remembrance of the people fighting from Concord, and what was the other town?
There was Concord,
Lexington.
Yeah, Lexington, Concord. The actual battle that I recall was the British, a column of British soldiers were attempting to cross a bridge as they were walking back to their base from some mission, and they encountered angry colonists, and actually, interesting enough, as I recall, they were led by women, and it was the key point about
I
it
saw women
was
in there today.
I noticed that as well.
Yeah, it was led by women. They were very upset. But the key point about that particular battle, it was the very first battle that a British military unit lost.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And that was a massive psychological event for the colonists. Very important for the colonists.
And I just thought, how cool is it, or how odd is it that here we are, however many years later, and we're just running. We're not worried about getting shot by someone.
Yes.
We had to push the street across, the button across the street.
Yeah.
And it sounded like, Ian, what did it sound like?
It sounded like a machine gun.
It sounded like a machine gun.
I think the idea is to make you run faster across the street, but I could be wrong on that.
But it wasn't a machine gun, and that's the funny thing is it's not a machine gun, it's just telling you to get your butt across the street. But back in those days, you really had to worry about, we could be dead. We may not be coming home for dinner.
Yeah.
And so the fact is we have a really good life. We are running in Boston. We're doing a crazy marathon tomorrow that has, do you know how many people do the race tomorrow?
I don't remember the number. It's thousands, though. I don't remember.
Ian's going to know.
Yeah.
Go to Ian.
It's 31,000, I think I saw on the expo yesterday.
It is 30,000. It's a lot of people. It's a lot of people. And so we're going to be shoulder to shoulder with everyone. And I'm a little worried about finding you at the finish.
Yeah, I don't know. The finish has a ton. It feels like the whole world is going to be at the finish, and so I'm just going to wing it. I'm going to try and figure out. Okay, how can I find Todd? I'll read the crowd and try and find a strategic spot, and then hope for the best.
Yeah, and what I think is going to happen is I'm going to finish, and then they just keep pushing me through.
Yes.
And then there's a meeting up area farther down. So if you see me, I'll give you approximate times when I'm going to finish.
Okay. Yeah.
I'll tell you what I'm wearing so you can kind of see me, and you can track me.
Yes. Okay. Oh.
On your phone, you can track me, so then you can see where we're at. And then we'll meet you farther down there.
Okay.
And we have 2 other ladies running too, so we have to make sure we see them too.
Okay. All right.
So
Okay.
it's
Very
good.
good. Yeah.
We have Julie and Sue is 70 years old,
70. Okay.
and she is seated in the top 10 of her age group,
Okay.
which means, you guys might not know this, she has her number on the back.
Okay.
Like her age is 70, and that tells people that she's in the top 10.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right. I did not know that. That's excellent. Congratulations to her running at 70.
So, do you have your number in the back? Are you in the top 10, Ian?
Are you trying to demean me?
No, I'm not trying to do
I'm going to be in the top, probably 1,000 or so in my age group.
top 1,000. I don't think I'm there. I know that my number is 9,197. What's yours?
I don't know.
And basically what that number tells you is how fast you were when you got into the race.
Okay.
So there's basically 10,000 people faster than me,
Oh, wow.
which is crazy, right? And Ian and I were separated. We qualified by, he did 2:59 and did 3:11, and within that time, there's about 5,000 people filling that space.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
Yes.
Right?
That's huge.
So Alan, tell me, how many times have you actually watched the Boston Marathon, or have you ever done it?
I've never come to Boston. Actually, I've never actually come to Boston to watch a Boston Marathon itself. I've always had a policy of avoiding the city of Boston during the marathon.
Oh.
But just because of crowds and, whatever. However, I have, there was one year I accidentally bumped into the runners somewhere. The town that's going to be east of Hopkinton. I forget the name of that town. I didn't realize it was Marathon Day, Patriots Day, and I was driving and I saw a blocked street. And when I asked what was going on, they said, "Oh, it's the marathon." And so I was like, "Okay." So I stopped and I saw a bunch of people run by, and that's the only time I've ever.
Well, I think you're in for a treat tomorrow. I really do. And I think you're going to experience the Boston Marathon at the finish line. Yeah. Like, well, I've never done it and experienced it that way. Ian's never experienced it because you've been a runner. So you're going to be the spectator.
Yes.
And I often sometimes say that it's harder to be a spectator than it is to be the athlete. Ian, would you agree with that?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Well, Ian, now, Alan, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm getting older. My brain doesn't work as well as it used to.
Yeah.
Did you come and watch me in my first Ironman?
Yes. We came with Claire. We supported you in British Columbia. Yeah. And I remember it was an extremely long day. It started in the dark and it ended in the dark. And
Oh, Todd, you must have had a good day.
We waited till the last finisher.
Yes.
Thank you very
Sure.
much.
Yes. And so it was but the thing I remember the most was I was just blown away by the whole idea that you swim this entire distance, you bike all this, all across the world, and then you top it off with a marathon.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
that was impressive. That was impressive. Yes.
And so for me, I totally forgot that until I started talking that, you know what, you were there for my first Ironman, and now you're here for my first Boston.
Yes.
It's awesome.
There for you, dude.
So so I guess my next big event, you're going to be there too.
Yes.
And people out there, you don't know, but he was my best man at my wedding.
Yeah.
I got married in Banff, Alberta, and then I was his best man
Yes.
for his wedding
Yes.
in Nairobi.
Yes. It was special seeing Todd and his family there.
And I remember you called me up, said, "Todd, I'm getting married." I thought, "Oh, good." And I thought, "Okay, we're going to go to Boston." And then I paused for a second, and I go, "Alan, where's the wedding?"
Nairobi, Kenya.
And I just thought, oh my gosh, all I could see was dollar signs above my head. And I just thought, Africa's a third world country, right?
Yes.
It is not. It
Yeah.
costs a lot of money to do that. But it was one of the best trips we've ever had in our life. So thank you for that.
Thank you for coming.
Now, we need some more questions about tomorrow and our experience.
Oh, you need more questions?
We need to, a little
Okay.
bit more until we get kicked out.
Okay.
We're not kicked out yet. We don't even know where we are. We're sitting on the steps here,
Yeah.
and we see.
So here's a question.
On your baskets.
Excuse me.
You just dropped your sock.
So Todd and Ian, I have a question for you. So what do you think about Boston? Are you here? And Harvard? What are your impressions so far?
Let's go to Ian first.
I would rank Boston as actually one of my favorite cities to visit. I don't know what it's like to live here, and actually being pretty far out where we are, I don't want to pronounce the place because I forget what it is. Alewife?
Alewife, yeah.
Alewife, yeah. So on the run today, we went further out into the suburbs of Cambridge, and it actually looks like a really nice area. We went by a small lake, and there's a lot of historical homes.
Yeah.
Todd and I both got to hang out with our favorite uncle. Who is that, Todd?
It's Uncle Sam.
It's Uncle Sam. Yeah, so we were beside the statue of Uncle Sam.
Yeah.
And so this is a nice place to visit.
I would agree. We went out for dinner with Sue and John last night, and they took us to a nice restaurant that used to be. What did they used to make? They used to make braziers. Okay. So on the top part of the restaurant, they had all these braziers, and on the bottom, they have pictures of boxers.
Okay.
And we had classic. I had to get my chowder.
Oh, excellent.
Right?
Yes. Yeah.
I had the clam chowder, and then I had scallops. It was delicious. And I like being in Boston. Like, you look around here, there's a lot of history right here.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And Harvard to go to school is like almost the place to go to school.
Yes.
I would think.
It's one of the top.
One of the top schools.
Yeah. At least from a branding perspective, Harvard is a very successful brand. One can quibble about the quality of education, but it's a great brand. People know Harvard from all over the world.
All you have to do is watch Rick Mercer talking to Americans, and I think it was the Harvard professor talking about the rhinoceros hunt in Saskatchewan or something like that. Yeah, that was not good for branding.
No, but let's get back to the Boston Marathon. So back to the Boston Marathon. Alan, do you think you'll ever want to run the Boston Marathon?
Oh, absolutely. It's a bucket list item. And I have to say, Todd, you have inspired me once again, not the first time, to get up and go do something. So I think now I'm going to take this a bit more seriously, especially given that I started running when I moved back to Kenya. I started running in Kenya, and I discovered that running outside is actually a lot of fun. You know? So I love running outside. I have not been doing it during the winter over here because logistically it's a bit of a pain. But spring is here. I'm going to start doing it again, and I'm going to get in shape and prepare myself to hopefully run the Boston Marathon.
Well, I'll tell you what, Alan. When you decide you're ready and you want to run it, I'll run it with you again.
Excellent.
Okay?
Thank you.
And we'll try and get Ian to do it as well.
Sounds good to me.
And then we'll do a repeat of the podcast, and we'll do a remember when.
Yes.
Remember when back in 2019 we're sitting on the steps of the dormitory. I don't even know where we're sitting on, but
I think this is a dorm.
I think so, given the laundry basket.
Yes.
It's called Weld Hall.
Yeah. Weld Hall.
And so we see a lot of people with the laundry baskets.
Yeah.
I feel like we're encroaching, but I do remember being that young years and years ago, you and me, doing our laundry in university, and
Yes.
those are good times. So tomorrow, Ian, you're gonna do your second Boston Marathon. I'm gonna do my first. I'm super excited, and we'll probably do a follow-up podcast. We'll have to bring Alan in from Boston to Calgary to do this.
Yes.
I'm sure you'll be happy to come in for a trip.
Yeah,
Oh, I
all
miss
expense
Calgary.
paid.
Oh, I miss Calgary. I have to come back.
Okay, and that's it. So this was just a short podcast to say, hey, we're excited for Boston Marathon tomorrow. I want to thank you to Alan and Ian for showing up, and we're going to have a great run tomorrow.
Thank you, Todd, for including me in your podcast.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Todd, and super good luck for tomorrow.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. My goal is I have 4 goals. First one is to get to the start line, the finish line.
Yeah.
That's number 1. Number 2 is to get the medal.
Okay.
Number 3 is to get the celebration jacket. I already have that.
Okay. Oh.
Yeah. And number 4 is to run tomorrow as best as I can.
Okay.
So
Excellent.
if I do all those 4 things, boom, it's awesome. So guys, thanks for listening, and I'll talk to you next time. This is Coach Todd saying thank you very much, and happy training. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Hey, if you have any questions, please send me a note. You can contact me at Instagram at No Limits Coach and Facebook at No Limits Try. If you enjoyed this podcast, please leave a comment and a review on iTunes. I appreciate all reviews and questions. Happy training, and we'll talk soon.